Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Business Continuity Digitalization webinar. I'm Iza, and I'll be your host for today. I hope everyone is doing great. Thank you to those who are here early. Do say hello or good morning in the live chat if you're here. This is our second webinar in 2021, and we have exciting webinars planned ahead for the year. So if you would like to be in the loop, receive a HR starter kit and extra materials from today's webinar, don't forget to check in via the QR code or link in the description box and live chat. Okay, so a quick introduction to DGX before we begin. DGX is Digi's venture builder arm. Our focus is to help Malaysian companies of all sizes solve problems by digitalizing their operations through our digital solutions, AltHR, Omni Hotline, and iFleet. In today's webinar, let's find out the importance of keeping your employees engaged during a pandemic and recommended activities to increase engagement within teams. If you have any questions at all, feel free to leave them in the live chat and we'll answer them in the Q&A session. So our speakers for today will be Nicholas and Natalie from the Fund Committee of DGX. I know what you're thinking, what on earth is a Fund Committee? Don't worry, we'll cover this later. But besides running the Fund Committee in DGX, Nick is also a UI/UX designer, while Natalie is part of the customer success team here at DGX. So without further ado, let's bring them on the screen. Hi and welcome, Nick and Natalie.
Hi guys, hello.
Hello. Good morning, everyone.
Yes. So we're all very excited for this presentation today. So let's just get started. So Nick and Nat, I'm sure a lot of us who are watching today are curious. What exactly is a fund committee and why do we have it at DGX?
Yeah, well, Nick, you could start with this.
Yeah, let's go into the origin story of the. Is the slide on?
Okay, hold on. All right.
Okay, let's go in. Okay, so the origin story of the fund committee. So the committees were formed back then to allow us to kind of contribute more to DGX and also to improve like certain processes. So the committees are kind of like, I would say they're akin to more of like the core curriculum that we had back then in uni or in like the Boy Scout groups and all that. It's something that extra you can join and you can contribute to the company. So an example of a committee would be like an automation committee where they kind of help people to help our office to kind of automate certain processes so that we can lessen manual work. And another one would be like the all hands committee where they take charge of the monthly all hands and all that. So it's just like a chance for people to contribute more. And then the fund committee back then wasn't the fund committee. It was called it was split into two. It was the gaming and social committee. So the gaming committee was formed because people were fighting over the PS4. The FIFA gang and the Street Fighter gang were always fighting over the PS4. So Praveen was like, okay, we need someone to kind of handle that, the drama per se. The social committee was then formed to just basically like make sure that employees are engaged. But then over time, the social committee kind of disappeared and then we kind of absorbed it into the gaming committee. And then now we're called the fund committee, which is both gaming and social as well. Yeah.
All right,
That's
great.
So fun, right? Not just covering like the gaming session. Because like, for example, myself, I don't play that much of games. So that right now we cover more sessions. Yeah.
Yes,
okay. Correct. Cool. So within DGX, there are a few committees that were formed. So these committees can come from like different peoples of the different parts of the company, right? So let's say if somebody was from digital marketing, from engineering, from like a design UI/UX, a designer, they can all form like a committee and start running these things for the department or for the division, correct?
Yes, it was an awesome chance to have everyone from different parts of the company to kind of come together and work towards a single goal, depending on the committee's group. So for example, me and Nat are like from different like departments per se. Like she's from customer success, and it gave me a chance to kind of work with her as well, where I wouldn't really have a chance to work with her before this. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So thank you for the detailed explanation. I hope everybody kind of knows what the fun committee is now and why we have it at DGX. Now, what are like some of the common employee engagement activities that we typically see in companies, and what is DGX doing differently?
Okay, so I guess like the common activities that we see, like a lot of companies, HR are trying really hard to engage their employees. So the most common one would be sports events. I think we learned also back in school is that, sports kind of unite everyone. So you normally heard badminton, bowling, and I think nowadays the younger generation would prefer something like paintball, water rafting, something more adventurous. But given that right now, all of us have been working from home, not everyone gets to go to the office. This kind of sport events becomes very challenging for HR to carry out. And of course, we also have like workplace parties or celebrations. So for example, monthly birthday celebrations and everyone, get together, and also company anniversary, as well as all those festive seasons, Chinese New Year, Raya, Christmas parties. Yeah, we have lots of those, as well as like team building activities. Right now we have like just not short of any laser tag, escape room, treasure hunt, and of course the makan minum. Everyone likes to get together, just go to a bar or maybe
Friday night.
Yeah, and I know like some companies where they have people like visiting some fruit orchards, or like even going to all the way to Bentong just to have durian, or just to just to have like a food treat. People do like makan minum. So these are some of the common activities that we've seen across like most of the companies.
I also see some companies go on to volunteer work as well. Like during Saturdays, they would gather up and then they would go to a old folks' home, help with the cleaning, or maybe like buy them food and all that.
Yeah.
There's something more charitable lah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and like helping the community, right? That's awesome. Okay, so these are like the common ones that we see probably in like most companies in Malaysia. So what have we been doing like in the pandemic while everybody, was working from home last year?
So some of the activities that we have done, we've done a lot because we've been trying to kind of go through some trial and error to see what works for the pandemic. So these are some of the things that we have done for DGX per se. Some of them before the pandemic. So like for example, boarding event. So one of the most popular things is the where we allow employees to kind of have a platform to express themselves. Because sometimes maybe you wouldn't know that one employee is really into like maybe biology. He loves like marine biology, and then he loves fish and all that, and he really wants to talk about it. So we kind of like provide a platform for them and kind of engage with the team lah. So that is what we call in the DGX called the Om Nom Nom, where people will just we call it Om Nom Nom because people would just sit there and then makan and then listen to the speaker lah. And then boarding events, which is what we did before the pandemic, and then welcome mystery lunches. So we have a lot of newcomers come in, so that we need a way to kind of like welcome them and kind of like let them engage with the other employees. So we have like welcome lunches that kind of like ask everyone to come in and have lunch together and kind of like get to know the employee, like the new guy. So, and then mystery lunch is where I kind of like invite 6 random people into a lunch session. They wouldn't know who is it until they get there. And then that's the surprise lah. And then it's kind of like forcing them to kind of talk with different people from different parts of the company where they wouldn't have a chance to talk to, or where they wouldn't even want to, have the urge to talk to. Secret Santa is also one of the big ones as well. Sorry, Nat?
Yeah, I say maybe I can chip in on the mystery lunches also. So I only joined DGX last year in May. So that time we had mystery lunches, and because all of us working from home, we didn't have the privilege to meet other colleagues from other teams, especially those that we don't work with. So for example, that time, let's say for engineering team or developers team, or I don't get to see them. But because of the mystery lunches, I have no idea who is being arranged in that particular lunch, and I just show up then turn out, oh, okay, so that's this, like for example, there's Isa, there's Nick that I've never worked with. And it's very interesting because you never know how the conversation would lead to, just like how you would do in normal conversations with people outside. But because we are working from home now, it's this gives some, like, in a way it's like a mystery. So then depends on the dynamics of the group as well. So I remember one is the colleague had left to work overseas, but very interesting because I get to know him more because we talk about religion or talk about something that something that I was like, oh, I didn't expect him to share about those things. So it gives a chance for me to get to know more about my other colleagues. So I really appreciate the mystery lunch. And maybe Nick, you can tell us, because I didn't get to experience the physical mystery lunch. I heard it's even better.
Yes, it's even better. But it was kind of rough at first because people are kind of getting used to it at first. But then once we get the ball rolling and people are like more used to each other, right? It gets better and better where people have like they would kind of like bond even after the mystery lunches. They would kind of bond even after that as well. They were like, maybe, hey, you play this game as well. Let's maybe play tonight together. Why not, right? So without mystery lunch, right, they wouldn't even have a chance to kind of connect that way. So, and I feel that a team with a strong bond is really important and crucial to a company's chemistry, in terms of like the culture and all that. Less drama also, because you kind of understand each other. Yeah.
I would see that it's very intentional, but at the same time, it really works. What I see in other companies or hear from friends that normally, in companies, you have your own gang, my own gang. I only do my own stuff. I don't want to know about other gangs. But because of the mystery lunch, it gives the opportunity for people to get to know other people. Like people who maybe more introverted, like maybe more shy, then this is the chance for them to know other people. Then you want a company where people know each other, not just I've heard a story about like friends that said like in the company, they've worked there for like a year. And the company is the size of 50, but when the colleague is leaving, so when they want to farewell, only he realizes that, oh, actually she's the one that helping me to do the account. I never know. So it's quite a shame for a company this size, but not being able to let all the employees to know each other. So this would be a good initiative for all the HR out there, maybe thinking of idea on how to get all your employees to also know colleagues from other departments that they don't work with.
Yeah. So this could also be like mystery lunches. It doesn't have to be with just peers or colleagues of like the same level. It could also be like with the managers, with people who are like juniors and more senior in the company. So that's kind of like how we arrange these mystery lunches, right, Nick? And then we kind of get to meet different people within just DGX. So so that's like a good
Speaking of like seniority, right, we also did like some mystery lunches where it's all interns, but then it's the boss himself, like all interns with the boss himself as well. So we kind of let each other from like interns to kind of get to know the boss, and the boss get to know the interns as well, where most companies the boss wouldn't really want to know or care about the interns. So it's a really good platform for that
That's fun.
Yeah. And other than that, we also have like board game nights, video game tournaments, because we have quite a lot of video gamers in DGX as well. Hiking is also but then hiking is something that people would do on their own. It's not something that we kind of manage, but people kind of like form groups, and then because they love hiking, they do hikes as well sometimes. Yeah, so these are some of the things we've done in DGX.
Okay, all right. So let's move on. I'm sure you guys want to go a little bit in depth on some of the activities that we have. All right. Okay, over to you, Nick.
Oh, sure. So I think mystery lunch we already kind of covered a lot already before this. So I think, but let's talk about maybe the positive points in terms of why we should do this as the company. I think it really, like what we mentioned, it brings people together. It forms bond where there wouldn't be a chance for them to even form before this. And yeah, basically just creating new connections. I think we can kind of skip this because we talked a lot about it just now. Let's talk about the tea time, I guess. So tea time is something quite very strange to a lot of people. So what is tea time? Tea time is because right now we are doing things virtually. We are working from home most time. As in for Digi, we've been doing it for a year already. We rarely get the chance to see each other in person anymore. And usually, you know, when in an office, you usually have that kind of office banter, maybe after lunch, or maybe when you're doing something and then you have a eureka moment, like, hey, let's do this and that, or maybe, hey, Bob, how's your day? How was the movie like last night? And then this is something that we try to kind of simulate by where we have a fixed time every week, half an hour session where everyone just comes in voluntarily and then just chat lah. Just do whatever you want, chat whatever you want, and then just let people to connect in this pandemic time. So I think it's really cool, and I think if your company is like working from home all the time, that this is something that can help people to kind of connect easier instead of just like working or Slack or emailing each other like, hey, you know, following up on tasks and all that. Yeah. So sure, Natalie, go ahead.
Yeah. So I think so. When I just joined, sometimes I have this thought. Oh my gosh, I actually want to talk to them, but it's so weird that I suddenly Slack them or suddenly ping them and say hi. It's so weird for a newcomer, right? And then you also don't know whether they might be busy with work. It's unlike, you know, in office, you can see, oh, Nick also kind of taking a break right now. Maybe I can talk to him for a moment, right? So then with this tea time, at least it helps, gives a platform for people to just come and go at any time they, as in like, because we fix a time, right? Let's say every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 p.m. tea time. So it's not, you don't make it an obligation for everyone to join. But if let's say they do have the free time, they can always hop on and join the conversation that's ongoing. So it makes it easier for employees as well, instead of, hey, maybe I should ask. Because if you ask, normally you ask within your own group, the people that you're close to, right? But because tea time, it's there, so anyone can just join in. Yeah,
it's kind of like the equivalent of going to the pantry and getting coffee and getting like chit chat with your colleagues. But now that we don't see each other, tea time is like the way to go. So some of us would actually bring actual tea to the tea time or like snacks. But some of us we usually just like go in and talk, right?
Yeah, some people just come in for 10 minutes, for 5 minutes, but they at least they feel good after coming in, even for 5 minutes, to say hi and see how's everyone doing. And it's not correct, and it's not a difficult thing to set up. So I think when Nick said, like, when we first initiated this, right, we just kind of need to get the ball rolling for first maybe 2 sessions. And after that, even when the farm committee not there, people would still join, and some of them, they just continue with their own own conversations, or sometimes
maybe weird topics
games.
Sometimes.
I remember one that I really enjoy. It's one of our team member, MP Michelle. Then she started like a karaoke session just for a while, but it's quite fun as well. It's a short while,
Okay, cool. So what other activities do you guys want to like touch on besides tea time and mystery lunches?
So we have another tool, which is the hackathon. Hackathon is kind of like we did this in the company tried to do this because it was the end of year. We wanted to give everyone kind of like a fun thing to do, while also having a chance to kind of contribute or even give ideas to improve certain things about our products. So we would give like problem statements, and we will then like form teams, and each team will then choose a problem statement, and they will then try to solve it, which is, you know, what a hackathon would do. So in the end, like I think this was quite a great success as well. Everyone was really into it because there's prize involved as well. So, you know, people will really get into it, especially when there's a prize involved. Basically it was really cool, and even like the higher ups were really like super impressed about this event, and they would want to see it more often as well, maybe in the near future in DGX. So maybe, I'm not sure if you guys have any thoughts about this event. Maybe you guys would like to share something as well.
Yeah, so hackathons, I feel like it will work in a small scale and also a big scale company. So for DGX, I think why it worked for us as a smaller company, because we had different teams within DGX also, like engineers, designers, digital marketers. Whereas we have also done like a big scale hackathon. Digi has done it for the whole company called Disrupt, I think like 3 years ago, which was also very cool. So the people who were involved in the hackathon for Disrupt, they had like 3 days off from work just to work on whatever that they are pitching to the company. And then they also win prizes. So small scale and big scale, they can work both ways. So hackathon is like a great way to like foster team building and like relationships with people who are not typically within your circle. So that's really cool. Yeah,
I would actually see hackathon as like a way kind of kill two birds with one stone for a company, because you're not just like fostering the bond, okay, and then the employee engagement. Maybe three birds. Okay. So another one is that you actually help the company to find solutions. So what we did is that for Odd HR, we need to come up with solutions, maybe to develop it better, maybe find out some solutions. Because normally it's that the product team would have to think of ways to help improve the product. So right now you also get ideas from other teams, right? And so this actually helps the company's business, because if you come up with great solution, that also helps to solve companies' problem. So you kind of win-win in some way. And then employees are also happy because they feel they are inclusive in this, let's say, business development, product development. So they feel more, there's more, I would say more likely to share also, to be the brand or company advocate, because they are proud of this product, because hey, my idea's here. So for example, a hackathon, we have like the winner. It's none of them is I think at that time they were like very involved in the Odd HR product. So in that way, HR not just helping to engage employee, but also help company to solve problem. That to me, that's a really great event. But of course, there are more effort in organizing this. So like, for example, here is that the product team would have to really lead the hackathon. But I think at the end, it helps. So yeah, I think if for a company that maybe not developing product, it doesn't have to be hackathon, but it can also be some kind of competition that also help to think of ways and solutions for the company. So I would strongly suggest HR out there to try this out.
Yeah, I really agree with the fact that people not because people who typically work on our HR are the ones who are in the our HR team, and you also mentioned the fact that people from outside are also able to contribute this way. Yeah, and I really see that as well during the hackathon, and it was really cool. So I think in terms of engagement, this was a really big one, and I really highly recommend companies to do this as well. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what about Om Nom Nom? So it's a very interesting name also.
It's not a makan session.
So
joking. It's not.
Summarize for Om Nom Nom. Well, I think I mentioned this a little bit before, where it's just an hour session during lunch where we just gather around and listen to someone speak about things that they're passionate about. So, for example, if you look at the slides there, and you can see Justin Lee, my favorite marketing dude. He did like a topic based on like the basics of crypto and how the events, because he's really into crypto. And back then, I remember it was this was done around the time where the GameStop stocks debacle happened. So it was kind of like a perfect time for him to kind of talk about his passion, and people were really engaged as well. They were asking questions, they were giving each other advice on like financial decisions and all that. I think it's really cool to do that. Om Nom Nom was also sometimes given last time to interns to handle, where they also it also gives them a chance to kind of like create and manage small events in the company. And it gives them something to learn. As you can see the photo on the right where everyone's doing that weird hand formation, it's something that the interns had organized, and it was a really fun Om Nom Nom as well. Something different because there was no speaker, it was just people doing things together and having fun.
What's that? Like
it's a game, is it? Like a human puzzle, is it? Is that what it is? Okay, cool.
Basically, they were given a picture, and then we had to follow it. We have to simulate that same pose. Everyone has to work together. Yeah.
That's really fun. Yeah.
Awesome.
But I think for Om Nom Nom, it's I think when you have people, because in a way it's also engaged, like the speaker gets to share about something that they're passionate about. I think for Justin's session, right, it's quite a good turnout, because I think at least 60 to 70% of our team is there, like of DGX. So it's considered a good turnout. And people who don't know about crypto get to learn about it as well. And then other people can also chip in their thoughts and perspectives. And then we have a few so-called non-financial advisors. Then they get to, provide their views as well. So it's an interesting session for people also to discover, who else also have interest in this. So for example, if let's say you're very into crypto, then now okay, so these are the few that I can also talk more about crypto about, right? Yeah. So
Om Nom Nom is basically just like a lunch, not really lunch and learn, but like a session where we get to hear from our colleagues about what they're passionate about, and it doesn't have to be work related at all. So it could be, in Justin's case, cryptocurrency. It could be about skincare. It could even be about pets. It could literally be about anything, and it's just colleagues like interacting with each other and engaging with each other about things that are not related to work. So
So you've given the skincare, right?
Yes.
So,
so I've done one on skincare. Justin has done one on crypto, and soon we're gonna have another one as well. So that was a very fun session, and also a very I would say low cost way of getting employees engaged. So speaking of like cost and impact, right? What do you think are some activities that have like high cost, high impact, and low cost, low impact? Can we see like if companies were to do these kind of things, where they could get ideas from, depending on how much they're willing to spend?
Very good segue. And for the fund committee in DGX, we like to do things with low cost, high effort. I always make it a point to my bosses that I always make minimal amount of costs, try not to use any money at all, but then make good engagements out of that lah. Okay, so we did like a quadrant chart of like some examples of what you can do in terms of like the four levels are like low effort, high cost will be like preparing a gaming console, because you just need to buy a gaming console, put it in the office and hope people will play. Bring the team out for a game or laser tag, because usually these kind of events like paintball and all that, they will already be staff helping you. You don't need to do anything. You just bring people there lah, and then you just do it. And then high effort, high cost can be like team building, sport, the usual stuff that most big companies do, like team building events in a resort and all that. Sports tournaments, company dinner, or any large scale company events, even though you kind of have someone helping you, but then it's still a lot of effort to kind of manage that as well with your own company. So it's high effort and high cost as well. Low effort, low cost is which is basically like virtual lunches that like we have done. Board game nights where we gather people for board games and all that. It's something that is just like very nonchalant. People just gather together and just do stuff lah. And then high effort, low cost, which is something that we always try to do. Secret Santa is one of them. There's almost to no cost, because cost is only done on the giftee side or the gifter side. They just need to buy something for the giftee. Online tournaments, which you don't need any cost at all, but then basically gaming events with our own like gaming peers. Hackathons, which is what we have mentioned, is a lot of high effort to manage it, but then low cost, because there's almost no cost to it unless you want to involve like big prizes lah, depending on your company.
Yeah. Okay. I think it also depends on the objectives. So for example, if you do want to organize hackathon because you see the value and impact by organizing this, then perhaps you don't do it that frequently. Maybe you do it once a year, twice a year. So for the low effort, low cost one, maybe you can do it more often, because it doesn't take too much of your time. It doesn't cost too much for your company. So in that sense, you can engage employees in a more variety of events, I would say. And another thing is always think of like creative ways to lower your costs as well. Because I think, for example, like Om Nom Nom, right? You get your internal people as speakers. I think a lot of companies always think that I have to get some external guest speaker in. Then they kind of need to give them a token of appreciation, or maybe pay them So not necessarily. So try to look inward because you never know what your employees can also provide, right? So they also have something that they are good at, which they can share with other employees as well. So once you look in, you'll be surprised that, oh, actually this person is an expert. So in a way, you actually kind of lower down your cost, but at the same time, you also it's a higher engagement, I would say. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, awesome. So now that we've seen like the quadrant of effort versus cost, what are some recommendations that both of you can share for companies who are looking to increase engagement?
So some recommendations that I think work for us was that, because if your company is working from home, which we are right now, virtual activities is something that you can only do, right? Because you can't do any physical activities. So I would say try to be creative, find ways to, even you can steal some of our ideas as well, and then kind of try that out on your own company. Because I feel like it kind of worked for us, so I guess you can try and see if it worked for you lah. And I would say also advise you guys to also try to form a committee yourself. Find people, like-minded individuals who are also passionate or interested in kind of like improving companies' culture or engagement, and then ask them to create these activities. And for the committee, be persistent. At first, you wouldn't have really good results. Just keep doing it, and then sooner or later things will happen. The ball will get rolling, and you'll find that right activity for your team, which leads you to learn your demographic, really get to know what your company like. You might think that, okay, I like gaming and maybe my group likes gaming, but not everyone likes gaming. People are also into sports and all that. You need to find activities that kind of cater to everyone. Of course, you can also create like smaller events that kind of cater to certain niches as well, if you want to. So depending on what you think and all that. Yeah.
Definitely have to be persistent. I think Nick will be the most persistent person here in engaging the employees. But because like you can't, I think it's like a relationship. You cannot do it once a year. Okay, I'll leave the employees there. No, it doesn't work that way, right? You just have to keep doing it, so that in a way they feel bonded. They feel that they are connected to the company, to people in the company as well. So you just have to keep doing it. And I think forming a committee would be really helpful, because a lot of times HR might not have so many hands to handle so many things. So you just need to find a few people that maybe if one person who likes gaming more, right, then you can set up a gaming committee maybe just to take care of that. Instead of maybe not many people like books, or I don't know, like maybe movies club, books club. You can always have a subcommittee or separate it. It doesn't have to. Maybe here is that, we have a fun committee, but you can always have like subcommittee to get things rolling.
Yeah, it's a two-way relationship lah. People can the committees or even HR can initiate, but employees also need to be open to participating. So it's kind of like both ways need to try and work together towards achieving this employee engagement also.
Exactly.
Yeah. And definitely have to learn the demographic of your company, because what we shared might work in DGX, but not all would work in your company.
Yes.
Because depends on the age group, depends on the interest as well. Maybe, like for companies, I know that parents with children, like they're more family, people with family. Maybe some of events might not be suitable, but at the end, it's that's why you need different kind of activities to keep them engaged. So learn your demographic and see. I mean, just keep trying.
Yes,
and I think don't feel disappointed when maybe like you really put in a lot of effort in one activity and doesn't work. So maybe try another activity. So the best would be always try with the low effort activities first. So at least you don't feel, after you put in so much blood and sweat, and at the end it's you feel like you're not seeing any fruits from activity. So just be persistent and keep trying different activities to keep your employees
Okay, awesome. All right, so now that we kind of have like the recommendations, I have a question. Like, what about tools? Do we need to like buy tools or fancy software to make, you know, like virtual engagement sessions successful?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think the most basic one that every company should have would be communication tools. Like a lot of the activities that we showed before this, right? Just by having like communication tools would be more than enough to even do already one. Like for example, hackathons or even like virtual lunches can be done through a Zoom call, a Google Meet hangout, or even like a WhatsApp like call if you want. If your company uses WhatsApp, Discord is also a good option as well.
And
Just by
Teams?
having this
Yeah.
unlimited possibilities, and Teams as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, forgot to mention Teams. And then online games that I am gonna recommend some online games that kind of like you do not need you do not need to install anything. You just need to have a browser, and then you just send the URL, and then they can play already. Something like Kahoot. Kahoot is a really cool software where you're able to create like custom quizzes. Like for example, let's say you want to do a welcome lunch for an employee. You can kind of get to know the employee first before you do the quiz, and then when people come in, you can kind of play that cool session. It's really cool. I highly suggest you guys go and try it out. It's not free, but there's a free trial, so maybe try out a session with that free trial. And it has a lot of cool animations, a lot of interactions on there. So I really highly recommend you guys to try it out. Gothic is like a guess the drawing game where everyone takes turn to draw. It's a really high quality browser game. Just send a link and people can just play lah. So you can try this out if you want to see if like a smaller tea time session or whatever can work or not. Krunker is something more for the more gaming oriented people. It's like Counter-Strike, but then on a browser. You don't need to install anything. You just load the URL, shoot some of your employees lah. Maybe settle a grudge or two on there or whatever. I'm not sure. So these are some of the things that we highly recommend in terms of tools or like games online.
Yeah. Okay, but like having the basic communication tool of how you have your virtual video calls, that's more than enough to start something already. Like tea times, chats, little get-togethers like that. That will also increase the employee engagement like immensely, I feel like. Okay, fantastic. So it has been over a year since the pandemic struck, and since then we have definitely changed our ways to adapt to this new normal, right? So reflecting back on 2020, what are some learnings that you can share with us about keeping employees engaged?
Now, maybe you want to take it over from here.
I think first one, which just shared earlier, is that you can't do it alone. Just don't do it alone. I know like a lot of HR out there like feel burnt out because it's on top of their operational work. Yeah. They still have to engage their employees. I could share. I heard from some companies sharing that because employees always expect HR to organize events to keep employees engaged, and HR really have that heart and want to do it, but at the same time it's like, oh, I can't finish my work, I need to do my payroll, I need to recruit people, especially for smaller companies. HR just basically one very small group, like 1-2 people, and they would have to run everything on their own, so it becomes difficult. That's why you would need support of many different people in your organization. Just need to keep an eye on who's the more engaging one, and those who have more energy, maybe just get them in to also help you out as well. So just don't do it alone. Because even for us here in fund committee, like we can't do it. I think for us, we really are very fortunate because many of our team members, they are really good in even taking the initiatives as well. So that helps a lot.
So, yep, I totally agree. It's like you shouldn't rely on HR solely for creating activities for employees. You can actually start small within your team and start increasing more engagement activities. Or if it's not within your team, then you can start within just your department. And then the usual big company events, you can leave it to HR maybe, but like for the smaller engagement ones, you can actually start on your own. Right? Okay. So besides like not doing it alone, what else have you guys learned?
For the past few 1 year or so that doing this, right, I realized that the more I do this, it also kind of affects. It sends like a kind of like ripple effect across the company, where people would do things, would take up the mantle to kind of create cool activities on their own as well. So I think just keep doing things like this, right? Like creating like fun events for people. You will kind of like affect the company's culture per se. People will be more open to the idea of like creating like maybe social events together. And since people are more bonded together as well, they will also try to communicate with each other even more. So yeah, I think like what we have here on the slide, there's like a ripple effect, like positive employee experience, and then this will kind of lead into like a high performing company culture because everyone's like really like the communications has been improved. People are more like the bonds are strengthened, and people will work together better, and this will lead to a better like and improved business as well. So this is something that I've seen for the past 1 year or so. Yeah,
really, and even just seeing maybe other committee, because we also have other committee handling different kind of activities. I think just seeing their effort, being put in organizing those activities, that also kind of motivate us to do more here as well. So it just keeps that ripple effect. It's real.
Shout out to the All Hands Committee. You guys are great. Shout out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, to all the committees, you guys are all great.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, All Hands is our version of Town Hall. We just call it All Hands here at DGX.
Yeah.
So we have a committee specifically to run town halls for our departments as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
Just for example, like the birthday celebrations that we mentioned earlier, the common activities that HR has to do. So here is that the fund committee doesn't do that, but we have this birthday like shout out and also kind of celebration during our All Hands, and that's being run by our All Hands committee. And every month, it's something that we look forward to because they always
come up with very creative ways.
Salute their creativity. Because
very outrageous. Yeah.
Man, yeah. Like Chinese New Year they get the birthday people to do some Chinese New Year
TikToks.
TikToks.
Yeah.
Or before that, they have like some videos. So you see, like that again, you don't do it alone. You can have different committees doing it.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's again the ripple effect that really I get motivated just by seeing how they do it, and I think here as well.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right, so that was like a very informative presentation. I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this have great takeaways. So now let's move on to the Q&A session. So feel free to post any questions that you have in the live chat and we'll get back to them. So, all right, so let's get started. Can we have the first question on the screen? Okay, Catherine Lee asks, what ideas can I adopt for tea time games? All right, so tea time.
Tea time games. I've seen examples of people like what Nat mentioned. MP did like a karaoke session where she basically shared her screen and then we find popular songs and people just kind of sing together. It was kind of awkward at first, but once you have the loud one start to sing, where people will follow along with it. So
I think even people who don't want to sing, they feel entertained even during the tea session.
Yeah, we don't have to sing. We can just clap, snap our fingers, join the fun.
So support our bad singing and all that.
Yeah. So karaoke. Okay, what else? I think I've seen you guys play Among Us also, like the mobile phone game during tea time. Yeah.
So we also played that as well. And Gothic, which is what I mentioned in the tools, where it's like a guess a join game. That's a very accessible and super easy game for everyone. Because Among Us, some people might not like to play because it's a little bit more complex in terms of like the game mechanics. But guess a join is super simple. You draw and people try to guess. And then you give a hint and all that. So I think Gothic is a really good starting tool for you guys to try out. Yeah.
Gothic is like a Pictionary, but
online Pictionary,
but they have more things that makes it more fun, and then you have the points being calculated. You don't have to do that. You have mechanics to get it done for you. So
and it's free.
And it's free, yes. So there are so many online games out there where you can explore. So I think like that kind of like drawing games. It's always popular among employees, and also we've done like charade. Not necessarily have to be tea time, but it also can be done as well during the tea time. So this is something that it's already you can think of, but really do explore the online games out there. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, hope that answers your question, Catherine. Can we have the next one? All right. Idris A, as a small company with less than 10 people that is working remotely, what kinds of games or social events do you recommend we start with? Okay, so this is like the very basic one, just less than 10 people.
Oh, this is
I
a good
know.
question.
I need to know the demographics of the company.
Okay,
Less
so it depends
than
on the
10
demographic.
people. Yeah, it really depends on the company. But let me think of something more generally accepted, like widely accepted one. Let me think. Games and social events do you recommend to start with? I think it also depends on the festivity. Make good use of the festivities and kind of create games that revolve around the theme of it. Like Secret Santa is also one example. I think that can work even for a less than 10 people company, because even smaller departments in big companies also do that. Something that you can do as well. Maybe you guys can chip in. I'm still thinking of ideas.
Oh, okay. So I have an idea.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. Since like we're very close to like fasting month and it's gonna be Raya, you can actually have like kind of like a virtual Raya open house where everybody dresses up in Raya clothes or festive clothes and then just eat festive food together online. I think that would be great since we can't have, open houses, or we can't physically be together in the office to do these kind of things. So that's another idea that I have also for less than 10 people.
I think lately I also heard there are some companies doing like virtual cooking. So they kind of have someone to follow instructions and see at the end, like I kind of show you how it's the final product. Of course, you don't have the testing, but you just kind of need to follow. Everyone get the same recipe and we need to get it done within a certain hour. So this is like
cool.
an idea. Yeah.
Maybe we should do that too.
Yeah.
Or I think like the more high effort one would be some team building, but that requires a lot of planning. Because right now, just now I mentioned communication tools. You can use Zoom. There are so many features. You can break out into rooms. You can come up with like some escape room idea, which you do it virtually, or even some. Yeah, there are just many like team building activities that you can think of, like just by using whether Zoom, even WhatsApp. You might think that WhatsApp I can only just communicate, but you also can use the WhatsApp video call. So it's really up to your creativity. So maybe you can, let's say 10 people only, and you don't have any other communication tool like Zoom or maybe even Google Meet. Let's say you just want WhatsApp, right? You can basically make use of WhatsApp as well. Can always, I just come off, let's say, I share one picture. Maybe you just want to engage them daily. You can always come up with a picture and say, hey, try to guess what is this. Maybe it's a close-up of an object, right? So it can be that kind of games as well. So it depends like what type of events that you want to organize here. Is it a daily engagement or you want to do it like a more planned?
Official daily thing,
Okay. Yeah, so it depends on your demographic, but I think a good place that we can all agree with to start is to make use of the festivities that we have throughout the year. Very fortunate to live in Malaysia that we have so many festivities. So try and make use of that and make events and gather people around that, even though it's virtually. Yeah. All right. Okay, so can we bring the next question up? Yours truly by Anis Azrin asks, since there was some limitations such as age group, social status, etc., did you guys get insights from employees before doing all the activities, such as asking will they join the activities you guys are doing? Great question. Yeah.
Okay, so we did this back then. We did like a survey of sorts to ask people what kind of activities would they like. Let's say we were giving like sport events or maybe gaming events, so we can kind of see like how many people would prefer sport events, how many people would prefer gaming events, to get to know the demographic as well. And for example, there was a lot of suggestions about like having a tennis event. So what I did is we did a tennis event, but there was no turnout in the end. So it really, I would say that a survey it was not really useful for us. But what worked for us was that we just tried different activities, churning out stuff. If let's say this doesn't work on the second week, let's try a different idea, and then until we hit that one eureka moment, like it works. Let's try doing this for a longer period and see how it goes. Yeah, but maybe the survey method kind of works for you, or maybe if let's say you already know that your company memang everyone loves tennis, or memang everyone loves like to go swimming, just do it lah. Yeah, just do it only.
So a lot of trial and error, and
Yes.
yeah, I think you are bound to find someone last.
Because it like over time, because people come in, in and out, and the demographic would change. So what works last year might not work this year.
Yes.
I remember one HR shared before that the company, I mean, back then when they could have physical sports event, so they would book a badminton court, every week. But then the turnout gets lower and lower, and it's like an extra cost for them. So they would need to stop. And I think just by looking at this, even though a lot of people express interest, but you need to see like who actually turned out. So you might get like 50% say, yeah, we like badminton, right? But at the end, only 10% turn out. So is this something you want to continue doing, right? So again, consider what's your cost and whether it's something that you want to keep going on. If it doesn't work now anymore, then you just have to be persistent in trying another activity to see how it works.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, hope that answers your question, Anis. All right, next question from Joan Lee. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Is there any tools or tips on studying a company demographic? How do you perform your demographic study?
We used to use a Google survey, Google Forms, kind of like, we just like send the link to the chat, like all the random chat or whatever. Everyone would just like, we would then encourage them to kind of finish the survey lah. So from those results, we can kind of see like how what kind of people like, what kind of things that people like, that. It can even also be a simple poll, just like asking them like, maybe if you want to do a team building event in a certain venue, but you're not sure which venue, you can just list them out like that lah. Just something simple like that works as well. But that is something that we have done lah. Yeah.
And I know maybe it's also a challenge for HR because there are some HR who maybe they put up in WhatsApp, so that's their like only communication tool. So sometimes it's that employees, because I see one question also asked like, what if employees don't want to participate, or maybe they don't want to put in. So you put up the question, they might not be responding, so that might be difficult. I know there are some HR, then you need to kind of ask a few employees, hey, can you just help in responding this? It just takes a few seconds, right? And people would normally respond. So that kind of at least keeps the ball rolling first. So at least you get some responses. I know it's a challenge in some companies, but it's definitely doable. So you just need to come up with a poll, a question, whether it's as simple as just putting up a question and ask RSVP, or let you choose option A, B, C, put your name down, right? Or of course, if possible, you don't want to put that maybe in Google or whatever communication tool that you have poll, you can put that up. But always maybe if no one's responding, just ping a few people. Just need to start. You definitely know who are the ones that are more active. They can
more
kind
popular.
of. Oh, the influencer. You need to identify the influencer.
Yes. Influencer is like in the company.
Yes. Well, we're talking about marketing now. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So company-wide surveys are like announcements. But if they don't respond, I think another way that you can also do it is just if you're in a smaller company, just kind of get a list of company and see, just kind of gauge like, more females, less male, like just see the demographics of age through there also, or just based on observation, and come up with different activities to suit your assumptions. And then through all those trial and error, you can kind of see what is popular amongst the crowd and what is not really working. So yeah.
Get to know your employees personally as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So moving on to the next question. David Tan asks, as my employee starts to come back to office, what sort of games can we think of to break the ice since everyone hasn't met each other for a while?
I think the mystery lunch is also a good idea as well, because right now you can do it physically. So just choose like a cafe that, if you want to do social distancing or that, maybe limit to 5 or 4 people, a team. So you can try to do that lah. Especially for the newcomers, just create like a mystery lunch where you find that one newcomer and then 4 other random employees from your company, and then just let them talk lah, like naturally. And then I think that could work as well. What about you guys? Do you guys have any more recommendations?
I think one would be just don't do virtual. If you have the privilege to do it physically, then don't do it virtual anymore, because that's a barrier. If let's say for some employees, right, So to break the ice, I mean, I give them some time to warm up as well, because maybe it has been a while for most of them. Not you just kind of isolated at your own home doing work. Right now, you need to socialize again. So give them some time to warm up, and I think it's always good to start with conversations first, and maybe just again like you have the tea time, just like physically, yeah.
Okay, I have another idea. So when you get back to the office, everybody's just kind of like fresh, maybe a bit awkward because we haven't seen each other in a year. Another activity that I've thought of is actually just passing around some sticky notes. Everybody just writes random short messages to people. It can be anonymous, it can be not, and just paste it on their tables. That's like a fun way to it's a fun way to get back to the office. Because I remember last year when we did come back to the office, there was like a T-shirt for us and like a small post-it note saying, like, keep up the good work, and it was personalized. So that was really nice.
That was really nice.
Feel engaged and feel connected. Connected and welcome back to the company. So that's
I remember also that because we have like for a short while we go to office on a rotational basis, right? And I can't really meet, let's say I'm in team A, I can't really meet the team B. So kind of, I think also we can leave post-it notes.
For the other team.
Hey.
We used to do that, I remember.
So it's also a fun
way, free way to do this. To increase engagement. All right. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. I think we just have time for 2 more. Tiffany Ling asks, how do you motivate the team to join the initiative? Well, sometimes team members might feel that they have been forced to be part of the initiative that you organize. Okay.
Oh, this is a tough question.
I think leading by example is very important. So once you kind of form a committee, what I feel like it's best to do is even though it's just 3 or 4 people that are joining, make the best of it. Share it across, if you have like a company-wide email or like a group chat, send pictures of you guys having fun, and people will join suit and want to join. That's kind of like my perspective. What about you, Nick and Nat?
I think you need to nurture that culture into your, instill it into your company, to say, hey, it's okay to have fun once in a while. We've been working hard. Let's just enjoy ourselves once in a while to kind of and also to get to know employees, have fun with us, employees as well. So I think if you form a committee like us, you keep doing things over and over again, people will kind of see, hey, it looks kind of fun. Maybe at first he doesn't want to join, but then after that, wow, the photos looks kind of fun. They were very happy. They're smiling and all that. Maybe they'll be more motivated to do it the next time and be persistent. Like let's say if a mystery lunch, you invite the guy, he keep declining, right? Always invite him the next week after. That's what I do. I know it feels forceful, but then just let him try it out at first. If he doesn't really like it, then maybe we can just don't involve him too much. I think just get to know them first.
And have more voluntary events. So don't make it like mandatory for everybody to come. And then it'll feel like a chore. Make it voluntary. And then maybe some like mystery lunches, we make it kind of mandatory because, mystery lunches, we don't want nobody to show up. But for the less mandatory ones, for the non-mandatory ones, just make it voluntary and people who want to join will join. So when people see other people having fun, they will also want to see it. So lead by example.
I think just
try not to make it like an extra homework for them. Sorry, Nat. Go ahead.
I think for HR, maybe it's also adjusting our expectation. I think we all hope that all employees would be engaging and will be joining all of our activities, right? But it's like not always you get 100%. So also be happy about even let's say 50%. So at least you get 50% of your employees engaged in this activity. I think and for people, I mean, after persistently joining, I mean, some people, it's just their preferences. Sometimes it can be the time that you set. Sometimes can be the type of activities. And you can't really, have a team that activity that suits all. So, So just make sure you engage like those that always that are always there to support lah.
Okay, great. So let's go to our last question because we're running a bit on time. So Hema Muniandi asks, we used to run Kahoot every alternate days when we first started working remotely. Initially, turnout was great and it started to reduce after some time. I think this is a two-part question. Okay, we did give out Grab credit for winners. How could we maintain the same momentum of participation for a longer period of time?
I encountered the same problem as well, Hema. So I think a good thing, the something that worked for me was that I just changed to a different game. Don't use Kahoot anymore, or either that, or you can just maybe you've been using the same topic or the same kind of theme for the past few months, and people tend to get bored of it. Like it's like a TV show. Even though how much you like the TV show, you keep watching it over and over again, you wouldn't really be interested in it at all. So I really highly recommend maybe you change the theme of your questions. Maybe give it a twist instead of like the usual stuff, and then or maybe introduce a whole new game instead of Kahoot to freshen things up a bit.
Have variety lah.
Yeah, have variety because people tend to get bored, of course. So which is why sometimes even like Astro they need to change up the programs as well. So just try different things. If let's say Kahoot's not doing great, find another next Eureka moment and then stick with that, and then find keep the cycle going like all that.
Yeah, even if it's not variety in games, maybe variety in prizes. That could also be something to think about.
Yeah. Okay. And you might think that by giving out Grab credit, it's like a lure. It's like, oh, I can attract people because there's a reward there. But I think just sharing from experience here is that we don't necessarily give out Grab or any kind of rewards for most of our activities, but still manage to maintain a high engagement. So sometimes not necessarily it's the reward. And maybe it's just a change of the.
I agree.
Like what Nick just shared, just a change of the activities.
Make sure your employees come for the event and not for the prizes. Sorry.
That's the most important one. Okay.
Yes.
So that is all the time that we have today, actually. Thank you so much, Nick and Nat, for the sharing session and for answering the questions from the audience. If you have any questions that we weren't able to address or you have any burning questions later on, please feel free to email us at hello@althr.my. Do remember to fill up your information in the link provided in the description box below or within the live chat so that we can send you a free HR digitalization starter kit and future webinar invitations. Just a quick shout out, AltHR also has a podcast now that is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Search for the Work Boss podcast and you'll find our webinars trimmed down into more digestible lengths so that you can listen to them on the go. We also have internship applications open for business, technology, and UI UX designers. So if you have anybody that you know who are looking for internships, or even if you want to intern with DGX, check out our website, www.dgx.my, and all of our details are there. Thank you very much again for staying with us until the end. We hope you enjoyed this webinar. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and see you soon. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.